There is a quiet shift that happens inside the body as the years pass. It is not sudden. It does not announce itself with pain or alarm. It simply begins. Slowly, almost imperceptibly. Perhaps you have noticed it yourself. A little less energy in the afternoon than there used to be. A recovery that takes a day longer than it once did. A word that sits on the tip of the tongue but does not arrive. These small changes are easy to dismiss as simply aging, as the inevitable wearing down that time imposes on everyone. But here is what the research now suggests. Many of these changes are not aging at all. They are something else entirely. They are the body responding to conditions that can be shifted, signals that can be changed, patterns that can be interrupted. The difference between decline and vitality may not be about the number of years you have lived, but about something far more subtle, far more within reach than most people realize. And the most important factor, the one that researchers consistently find at the center of long and well-lived lives, is not what you might expect. It is not a supplement, not a medical intervention, not a specific diet. It is something else entirely. Something that has been understood for centuries but forgotten in modern conversations about aging. What we are about to explore together may change how you think about every remaining year. You are listening to the Longevity Library, where we archive the wisdom of healthy aging. Living well across the years. A gentle guide to lasting vitality. There comes a moment, often quietly, when a person begins to wonder about the years ahead. Not from fear, necessarily, but from a genuine curiosity about what is possible. Can the mind remain sharp? Can the body continue to move with ease? Can the later decades hold meaning and even joy? These are not idle questions. They reflect something deeply human. The desire to live fully, not merely to continue existing, but to experience each day with a sense of purpose and presence. What follows is an exploration of what research and observation have revealed about the patterns of long and well-lived lives. Not a set of rigid rules or medical prescriptions, but a collection of insights gathered from those who have navigated the later years with grace and from the scientific community that has studied what makes such navigation possible. The information presented here draws on multiple sources of wisdom, traditional practices that have sustained communities for generations, modern research into the biology of aging, and the lived experience of individuals who have maintained vitality well into their 9th, 10th, and even 11th decades. This is not about reversing aging or pursuing miraculous transformations. It is about understanding the conditions that allow human beings to flourish at any age and then gently creating those conditions in daily life. The changes may be small. The pace may be gradual. But the cumulative effect, over months and years, can be profound. The foundation, what aging really means. Before exploring specific strategies, it helps to understand what happens in the body over time. Aging is not simply a process of wearing out, like a machine whose parts eventually fail. The body is far more dynamic than any machine. It constantly rebuilds itself, replacing old cells with new ones, repairing damage, adapting to changing conditions. This capacity for renewal continues throughout life, though it does slow with age. What changes most significantly over time is not the body's fundamental ability to heal and regenerate, but the signals that guide these processes. Cells respond to their environment. They receive information from nearby cells, from hormones circulating in the bloodstream, from the nervous system, and from the behaviors and experiences of the whole person. When these signals consistently indicate safety, engagement, and purpose, the body directs its resources toward maintenance and renewal. When signals indicate threat, isolation, or meaninglessness, resources shift toward immediate survival, and long-term maintenance suffers. This helps explain why two people of the same chronological age can appear so different biologically. Their bodies have received different signals over the decades. One has experienced conditions that support renewal. The other has experienced conditions that trigger chronic stress responses. The result is different rates of biological aging, even when the calendar shows the same number of years. The good news is that the signals the body receives are not fixed. They can change. The environment can shift. Behaviors can adjust. Relationships can deepen. Purpose can emerge or re-emerge. And as these signals change, the body responds. It is never too late to create conditions that support health and vitality. Part 1. The question of purpose. Why purpose matters biologically. Among the most consistent findings in longevity research is the association between having a strong sense of purpose and living longer, healthier lives. This connection appears across different cultures, different age groups, and different circumstances. Those who feel their lives have meaning consistently outperform those who do not on multiple measures of health and well-being. The biological mechanisms behind this association are becoming clearer. Having something to live for activates parts of the brain involved in motivation and reward. These brain regions, in turn, influence the endocrine system, which regulates hormones throughout the body. The result is a pattern of neurochemical activity that supports cellular maintenance, reduces inflammation, and buffers against the damaging effects of stress. When purpose is absent, the opposite occurs. The brain receives no compelling reason to direct resources toward long-term maintenance. Why invest in cellular repair for a future that may not matter? Why maintain neural connections that may never be used? The body, receiving these signals, gradually shifts resources away from renewal and toward a kind of standby mode. Function declines, not because it must, but because it is not being called upon. This is not a conscious calculation. No one decides, I will stop maintaining my body because I lack purpose. It happens beneath awareness, at the level of cellular signaling and gene expression. But its effects are real and measurable. Finding purpose at any stage. Purpose need not be grand or world-changing to be biologically effective. It need only feel genuine to the person living it. For some, purpose is found in caring for family members or maintaining connections with grandchildren. For others, it emerges through creative expression, whether painting, writing, music, or crafts. For still others, purpose arises from contributing to community, volunteering time and skills where they are needed. The key is authenticity. A purpose adopted because it seems impressive or because others expect it rarely provides the same benefits as one that emerges from genuine personal meaning. The body responds to what is real, not to what is performed. For those uncertain about their purpose, observation often proves more useful than analysis. Notice what draws attention during the day. Notice what activities cause time to pass without notice. Notice what problems you find yourself thinking about, even without being asked. Notice what others seek you out for. These patterns reveal purpose more reliably than introspection alone. Some people find that their purpose evolves over time. What mattered at 40 may matter less at 70, and something new may emerge. This is natural and healthy. Purpose is not a single destination, but an ongoing orientation. A way of moving through life with attention to what matters. The transition after major life changes. Certain life transitions pose particular challenges to purpose. Retirement from a long career can leave a void where purpose once lived. Children leaving home can remove a central organizing principle of daily life. The loss of a spouse can eliminate not only companionship, but also the shared purposes that structured years together. These transitions are not failures of purpose, but natural stages in human life. They do, however, require adjustment. The skills developed over decades remain valuable, even if they find expression in new contexts. The retired teacher still possesses the ability to explain, encourage, and structure learning. The former business leader still understands systems and strategy. These capabilities can be redirected rather than retired. Some people, facing such transitions, make the mistake of concluding that their purpose is complete, that they have done everything they came to do. When this happens, the body receives a powerful signal that continued investment and maintenance is unnecessary. Decline can accelerate rapidly. The alternative is to recognize that purposes evolve. What was central may become peripheral, and what was peripheral may become central. New purposes emerge from the circumstances of each life stage. The task is not to cling to what was, but to remain open to what is and what might be. Part 2. The wisdom of movement. How movement shapes biology. The human body evolved in conditions that required regular movement. For most of human history, obtaining food, water, and shelter demanded physical activity. The body's systems developed in relationship to this movement, and they continue to expect it. When movement occurs regularly, multiple systems benefit. The cardiovascular system experiences the sheer stress of increased blood flow, which helps maintain vessel elasticity. The lymphatic system, which has no central pump, relies on muscle contraction to move fluid through its vessels. Bones respond to weight-bearing activity by maintaining density. Joints receive nutrition through the circulation of synovial fluid, which movement facilitates. Even the brain depends on movement for optimal function. Physical activity increases the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that supports the survival of existing neurons and encourages the growth of new ones. This helps explain why regular movement is consistently associated with better cognitive maintenance over time. The benefits of movement are not reserved for intense exercise. Research suggests that total daily movement matters more than exercise intensity. The person who moves frequently throughout the day, even at modest intensity, often achieves better outcomes than the person who exercises vigorously for 30 minutes, then sits for the remaining 15.5 hours. Practical approaches to daily movement. For those who have not been regularly active, the key is gradual increase. Starting with current baseline and adding small increments allows the body to adapt without injury or discouragement. Someone currently managing 1,500 steps daily might aim for 1,800, then 2,000, then 2,500 over succeeding weeks. Movement need not occur in a single block. Brief movement breaks throughout the day accumulate significantly. 5 minutes of walking each hour adds approximately 1 mile over a 16-hour day. This pattern also interrupts prolonged sitting, which research identifies as an independent health risk regardless of total activity. For those with mobility limitations, seated movement provides benefit. Arm circles, leg lifts, torso twists, and other seated exercises maintain joint mobility and stimulate circulation. The principle remains to move whatever can be moved, as often as possible. Some find that movement becomes more sustainable when connected to something enjoyable. Walking with a friend combines movement with social connection. Gardening provides movement along with purpose and contact with nature. Dancing engages both body and mind while often bringing joy. Activities that feel like living rather than exercising are more likely to continue over time. The integration of mind and body in movement. How movement is performed matters as well as how much movement occurs. Movement done with awareness and intention provides different benefits than mechanical motion. When attention accompanies movement, the brain receives richer sensory information, which supports better motor control and body awareness. This helps explain why activities requiring coordination and attention often provide greater benefits than repetitive mechanical exercise. Tai Chi, for example, combines physical movement with focused attention, and has been associated with improved balance, reduced falls, and better cognitive function in older adults. Similar benefits appear with dance, yoga, and other activities that engage mind along with body. The relationship between mind and body and movement also works in the other direction. Physical movement can shift mental states. A brief walk often changes perspective on a problem. Gentle stretching can calm nervous system arousal. The body and mind are not separate systems, but integrated aspects of a single organism, and movement affects both. Part 3. The healing power of connection. The biology of human relationship. Human beings evolved as social creatures. For most of human history, survival depended on belonging to a group that shared resources, provided protection, and cooperated for mutual benefit. The body developed systems that reward connection and signal danger in isolation. When genuine connection occurs, the body responds with measurable changes. Oxytocin release promotes feelings of calm and trust. Heart rate variability, a marker of nervous system flexibility, tends to improve. Inflammatory markers often decrease. Immune function shows enhancement. These effects occur whether one is giving or receiving care. Helping another person activates reward pathways similar to those activated when receiving help. The simple act of being present with another, of listening fully, of offering genuine attention, triggers physiological responses that support health. Isolation, by contrast, triggers stress responses. The body, perceiving itself alone and potentially vulnerable, prepares for threat. Stress hormones rise. Inflammation increases. Immune function shifts toward short-term defense at the expense of long-term maintenance. When isolation becomes chronic, these patterns become embedded, and health suffers accordingly. Forms of connection. Connection takes many forms, and different forms suit different people at different times. Close friendships provide one kind of connection, characterized by mutual disclosure and support. Family relationships offer another, often carrying deeper history and different expectations. Community connections, through shared activities or interests, provide belonging without necessarily requiring intimate disclosure. For those with limited human contact, connection with animals provides similar benefits. Pet ownership is associated with reduced cardiovascular risk, lower stress measures, and improved mental health. The relationship with a pet involves genuine caring and physical contact, triggering many of the same physiological responses as human relationship. Even connection with plants or garden can provide meaningful interaction, tending living things, observing their responses to care, participating in their growth cycle, creates a form of connection that satisfies some of the same needs as relationship with other beings. The gardener who checks on plants each morning, who notices changes, who responds to needs, participates in relationship with life, creating conditions for connection. For those who lack natural community, connection can be cultivated intentionally. Shared activities create opportunities for relationship to develop. Book groups, walking clubs, volunteer positions, classes, religious congregations, all provide structure within which connections can form. The quality of connection matters more than quantity. A few genuine relationships provide more benefit than many superficial ones. Relationships characterized by mutual caring, where both parties feel valued and understood, trigger the most beneficial physiological responses. A single such relationship can buffer against the effects of otherwise limited social contact. Intergenerational connection offers particular benefits. Contact with younger generations keeps older adults engaged with a changing world. It provides opportunities for meaningful contribution through mentoring or teaching. It can reduce ageist stereotypes that sometimes diminish self-concept. and it offers younger people access to perspective and experience they might otherwise lack. The community model. Some communities have developed intentional structures that support connection among residents. In such communities, people know each other's needs and capabilities. If someone needs transportation to a medical appointment, another provides it. If someone has extra garden produce, they share with neighbors. If someone is ill, others check in and offer help. This mutual support model reduces isolation while maintaining independence. Residents maintain their own homes and lives while knowing help is available when needed. The community becomes an extended family, providing both practical support and emotional connection. Such communities need not be formally organized. Neighborhoods can develop similar patterns when residents make intentional effort to know and support each other. The key elements are mutual awareness, willingness to help, and regular contact. These can emerge anywhere that people choose to cultivate them. Part 4. Food as foundation. Beyond nutrients, food provides more than calories and nutrients. It communicates with the body at multiple levels, influencing gene expression, hormone levels, and the activity of the immune system. This field of study, sometimes called nutrigenomics, helps explain why the same food can affect different people differently based on their unique biology. The quality of food matters beyond its nutrient content. Plants grown in healthy soil develop complex phytochemical profiles that support human health. Animals raised naturally develop different fatty acid profiles than those raised in confinement. Processing changes not only nutrient content, but how the body recognizes and responds to food. Freshness also matters. As food sits after harvest, its nutrient content gradually declines. Vitamins degrade. Beneficial compounds break down. The difference between a vegetable harvested hours ago and one harvested weeks ago is not merely taste, but nutritional quality. Individual variation. Despite marketing claims and dietary trends, no single way of eating works optimally for everyone. Individual variation in genetics, gut microbiome composition, activity patterns, and health conditions means nutritional needs differ significantly between people. Some individuals thrive with more plant-based eating. Their bodies efficiently extract nutrients from plants and handle the fiber well. Others require some animal products for optimal function, feeling fatigue or other symptoms when these are eliminated. Some handle grains without difficulty. Others experience inflammatory responses to certain grains. This individual variation extends to food preferences and tolerances. Forcing oneself to eat foods that cause discomfort or aversion, simply because they are considered healthy, provides no benefit. The stress of eating disliked foods may outweigh any nutritional advantage. The body's response to food includes its emotional response to the eating experience. The practical approach involves attentive self-observation. Notice how different foods affect energy, digestion, mood, and sleep. Notice patterns over time. What feels supportive after a meal? What leaves you feeling heavy or sluggish? What seems to have no noticeable effect? These observations provide more useful guidance than any external dietary rule. General principles. Despite individual variation, several principles apply broadly. Vegetables, particularly those grown in healthy soil and eaten soon after harvest, provide compounds that support multiple body systems. Their benefits extend beyond the vitamins and minerals they contain to include phytochemicals that influence cellular function. Adequate water intake deserves particular attention. Many older adults experience diminished thirst sensation and become chronically underhydrated without realizing it. Water supports every physiological system, and even mild dehydration can affect energy, cognition, and physical function. The manner of eating matters as well as what is eaten. Eating slowly, with attention, allows the body's satiety signals to register before overconsumption occurs. Eating in a relaxed state supports digestive function. Eating with others, when possible, combines nourishment with social connection. Some traditions include a moment of gratitude before eating. This practice serves a practical purpose beyond any spiritual significance. The brief pause shifts the nervous system from sympathetic toward parasympathetic dominance. Digestion functions optimally when the body is relaxed rather than stressed. A moment of thanks, however expressed, can support this shift. Part 5. Learning as lifelong process. The plastic brain. For much of medical history, scientists believe the brain's structure became fixed in adulthood and gradually declined with age. Research has overturned this view. The brain retains the ability to form new connections, adapt to new circumstances, and even generate new neurons throughout life. This capacity, called neuroplasticity, operates across the lifespan. Neuroplasticity requires stimulation. Neural connections that are used become stronger. Those that are not used become weaker and may eventually be pruned away. The brain continuously remodels itself based on what it is asked to do. This means that engagement, challenge, and novelty all support brain health. Learning new skills provides particularly rich stimulation. A new language, a musical instrument, a craft, a form of dance, all require the brain to form new patterns and connections. The effort involved in learning signals the brain that these abilities matter, that they should be maintained and strengthened. Even within familiar domains, variation and challenge support brain health. Reading books that require some effort, engaging with ideas that differ from one's own, seeking out new experiences within one's community, all provide stimulation that supports ongoing neuroplasticity. Learning from difficulty. Some of life's most powerful learning comes from difficult experiences. Illness, loss, disappointment, all carry potential lessons, though they may not be apparent at the time. The person who has navigated serious illness often develops deeper understanding of their body. The person who has experienced loss may become more present with others in grief. The person who has faced disappointment may develop greater perspective on what truly matters. This is not to minimize the pain of difficult experiences or to suggest they should be sought out. It is simply to observe that learning can emerge from them, and that this learning can support ongoing life. The same experience, processed differently, can either diminish or strengthen. The key difference often lies in whether meaning is found. Suffering perceived as meaningless tends to diminish. Suffering that serves some purpose, even if only learning, can be integrated differently. The body responds to these different perceptions through the neuroendocrine system, with corresponding effects on health. Learning from children and younger people. Those who maintain connections across generations often report that younger people teach them as much as they teach the younger ones. Children see the world freshly, without the accumulated assumptions that adults carry. Their questions reveal assumptions we did not know we held. Their responses show possibilities we had forgotten. A child who asks why things are done a certain way may be revealing that there are other ways. A child who responds differently than expected may be showing that responses are choices. A child who notices what adults have stopped noticing may be reminding that attention is a gift. These lessons are available to anyone willing to observe children without immediately correcting or directing them. The observation itself, the willingness to learn from those with less experience but fresher eyes, supports ongoing cognitive flexibility. Part 6. The energy of expression. The nature of vital energy. Every person has a certain quality of aliveness, a way of being that is uniquely their own. Some express this through physical activity and movement, others through creative production or intellectual engagement, others through emotional connection and relationship. others through service and contribution. The expression varies, but the underlying aliveness is universal. This vital energy operates on a use-it-or-lose-it principle. Unlike material resources that can be saved for later, vital energy must flow to remain available. Hoarding energy by restricting activity, by holding back expression, by playing small, actually reduces available energy over time. The energy that is not used becomes unavailable. Some traditions have names for this essential nature. In some older English usage, the word weird referred to one's fate or destiny, one's essential character. Asking, "How's your weird?" meant inquiring about one's fundamental vitality. This core self, expressed fully, is necessarily unique. No two people share exactly the same configuration of gifts, interests, and ways of being. Obstacles to expression. Several common patterns block the flow of vital energy. Fear of judgment causes people to hide their authentic expressions, to hold back what they might otherwise offer. Perfectionism prevents starting projects that might not succeed perfectly, so nothing gets started at all. Comparison with others distracts from one's own path, creating dissatisfaction with what is genuinely one's own. Past regrets also trap energy. Revisiting painful experiences repeatedly, picking at emotional scabs, prevents healing and consumes attention that could flow toward present life. The past cannot be changed, but attention to it can be modulated. Acknowledging regret without dwelling on it allows energy to move forward. Worry about the future similarly blocks flow. Anticipating problems that may never occur consumes energy needed for current situations. Planning differs from worrying. Planning prepares. Worrying depletes. The distinction matters for how energy is used. Practical expression. Using one's energy fully means acting on impulses toward expression without excessive filtering. When something seems interesting, explore it. When someone needs help, offer it. When creativity stirs, express it. When connection calls, reach out. These small flows of energy accumulate into vital life. This does not mean abandoning all judgment or acting on every impulse. It means recognizing that the energy available today will not be available tomorrow if not used. Postponed joy often never arrives. Deferred expressions often remain forever unexpressed. The time for expression is now, in whatever form is currently possible. For those in later years, this may mean finally pursuing interests set aside during working decades. It may mean expressing feelings previously withheld. It may mean taking reasonable risks that earlier responsibilities prevented. The juice flows until it stops, and stopping is permanent. Using it while it flows honors the life that remains. Part 7. Memory and Meaning. The construction of memory. Memory is not a perfect recording of past events, but an active construction that occurs each time we remember. The brain reconstructs past experiences from stored fragments, filling in gaps with what seems plausible. Each recollection is slightly different, shaped by current state, recent experiences, and the purpose of remembering. This constructive nature of memory means that how we remember is at least partially within our control. We can choose which memories to revisit, which aspects of past events to emphasize, which stories about our lives to tell. These choices shape not only our sense of the past, but our experience of the present. Dwelling on painful memories reactivates the associated physiology each time. The body responds to remembered threat as if threat were present. Chronic reactivation of stress responses through painful memory maintains stress physiology, with corresponding effects on health. This does not mean denying painful experiences or pretending they didn't happen. It means noticing when memory becomes rumination, when revisiting past pain serves no purpose but to maintain suffering. At that point, gently redirecting attention serves health, choosing what to remember. Some memories bring warmth, connection, and gratitude. These deserve revisiting. They reactivate positive physiology, supporting health rather than undermining it. The past contains both kinds of memories. Which receive attention is partially within control. For those who have accumulated many decades, memory lane can be a rich resource. Recalling people who mattered, moments of joy, challenges overcome, contributions made, all support a sense of life well lived. These memories can be revisited intentionally, like opening a cherished photo album. The practice of life review, sometimes done informally and sometimes with guidance, can support meaning-making in later years. Reviewing one's life, noting what was learned, what was given, what was received, what was overcome, supports a sense of completed purpose. This review, done with acceptance rather than judgment, can bring peace. The stories we tell. Each person constructs a narrative about their life. A story that selects and emphasizes certain events while downplaying others. This narrative affects current experience. A life story told as tragedy produces different effects than the same events told as triumph over adversity. The events themselves matter less than the meaning assigned. This narrative flexibility offers opportunity. Without denying difficult events, one can emphasize different aspects. The child who struggled became the adult who perseveres. The person who lost loved ones became someone who understands grief in others. The person who made mistakes learned what matters. The narrative can be adjusted, not to falsify the past, but to highlight aspects that support present well-being. What was learned? What was given? What continues to matter? These questions shape the narrative that serves rather than diminishes. Part 8. Integration in daily life. Small practices. Cumulative effect. The principles discussed here are not occasional practices, but daily orientations. Purpose expresses through daily choices about how to spend time. Movement accumulates through hourly decisions to stand and walk. Connection happens in each interaction. Learning occurs in each moment of attention. Morning offers opportunity to set intention. Before the day's activities begin, considering what matters today, what connections might occur, what movement might happen, what might be learned, orients the day toward vitality. This need not be lengthy. Moments suffice. Throughout the day, brief checks support integration. Am I moving enough? Have I connected genuinely with anyone? Am I using my energy or hoarding it? What am I learning? These check-ins redirect when needed, before drift becomes established. Evening review consolidates learning. What went well today? What might be done differently tomorrow? What am I grateful for from this day? What did I learn? This reflection supports continuous adjustment and improvement, the gradual refinement of how one lives. Adaptation for changing circumstances. These principles apply even as circumstances change. Purpose remains possible when movement is limited. Connection remains available when housebound. Learning continues when mobility ends. The forms change, but the principles hold. For those with significant physical limitations, purpose may focus on relationships, on maintaining dignity, on modeling graceful acceptance. Movement may become gentle range of motion in bed. Connection may occur through phone or video. Learning may involve new thoughts about familiar subjects, new perspectives on what has been. The body's capacity may diminish without diminishing the person. Identity need not equal physical capability. The core self continues regardless of bodily changes. This distinction matters for how limitations are experienced. The long view. These practices produce effects over decades, not days. Small daily choices accumulate into large lifetime differences. The person who moves little today may move more next month. The person isolated today may connect tomorrow. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. For those beginning later in life, benefits still accrue. The body responds to improved conditions at any age. Muscles strengthen with use. Connections form with effort. Purpose emerges with attention. Learning continues with engagement. The capacity for positive change does not expire. The goal is not immortality, but vitality for whatever lifespan remains. Quality of remaining years matters more than quantity. Each day lived fully, with purpose, movement, connection, learning, and expression, constitutes success regardless of total count. Part 9. Challenges and transitions. Navigating loss. Loss is inevitable in long lives. Friends pass. Family members die. Physical capacities diminish. Roles change. These losses are real and painful. They cannot be avoided, only navigated. The navigation matters. Loss can either diminish or transform. Those who can grieve what is lost while remaining open to what remains often find their way through. Those who can honor what was while engaging with what is maintained forward motion. Support during loss makes a difference. Those who have others to witness their grief, to acknowledge their pain, to accompany them through transition, often navigate more smoothly. Isolation during loss compounds the difficulty. Connection during grief supports healing. Health challenges. Health challenges become more common with age. Chronic conditions may develop. Acute events may occur. Medical interventions may be needed. These challenges affect daily life and require adaptation. The orientation toward these challenges matters. They can be experienced as enemies to fight or as circumstances to navigate. The fighting orientation, while understandable, often adds stress to already difficult situations. The navigation orientation accepts what is while working with what can be changed. Medical care works best as partnership. The patient brings knowledge of their own body, their values, their preferences. The healthcare provider brings technical knowledge and clinical experience. Together, they can develop approaches that serve the patient's whole life, not merely manage individual conditions. The question of suffering. Some suffering can be alleviated. Some cannot. The distinction matters for how energy is directed. Fighting suffering that cannot be eliminated consumes energy needed for living. Accepting what cannot be changed frees energy for what remains possible. This is not resignation. It is discernment. Some situations can be improved. Some cannot. Wisdom lies in knowing the difference and responding appropriately. For what can be changed, effort. For what cannot, acceptance. The balance shifts over time and varies by circumstance. Part 10. The present moment. Attention as resource. Attention may be the most precious resource any person has. How attention is directed shapes experience, relationships, learning, and memory. Attention to what matters cultivates what matters. Attention to what diminishes cultivates diminishment. The present moment is the only place attention can be. The past exists only in memory, which is attention to what was. The future exists only in anticipation, which is attention to what might be. Both have their place, but neither is where life actually happens. Life happens now. Attention to the present does not mean ignoring past or future. It means recognizing that past and future are experienced now, in present attention. The quality of that attention shapes the quality of experience. Presence in daily activities. Any activity can be done with presence or without. Washing dishes can be merely washing dishes, or it can be an opportunity to feel warm water, to notice sensations, to be fully where one is. Walking can be merely getting from place to place, or it can be an opportunity to feel the ground, to notice the air, to be in one's body. Presence does not require special activities. It requires bringing full attention to whatever activity is already happening. This is always available. It costs nothing. It requires no equipment. It simply asks that we be where we already are. For those who practice presence regularly, it becomes more available. The mind that habitually wanders can be gently brought back, again and again. Each return to presence strengthens the capacity for presence. Over time, presence becomes more natural, more available. The light carried forward. Each person carries something forward through their life, not in the sense of possessions or achievements, but in the sense of quality of being, of how they meet each moment, of what they offer to those around them. This is not measurable, but is real. The person who meets difficulty with grace offers something to observers. The person who remains curious offers something to those who witness curiosity. The person who continues to love offers something to those who witness love. These qualities propagate beyond the individual, affecting others in ways that may never be known. This is perhaps the deepest purpose, not to achieve anything specific, but to be a certain way in the world, to meet what comes with whatever resources are available, to remain engaged while life continues, to offer what can be offered, to receive what is given, to participate in the ongoing experiment of being alive. Conclusion: the continuous path. There is no finish line where one has finally learned to live well. There is only the ongoing practice, day by day, moment by moment. Some days will be better than others. Some moments will be more present. This is not failure, but the nature of being human. The principles explored here are not rules to be followed perfectly, but directions to be approximated. Purpose guides, but does not demand. Movement supports, but does not require intensity. Connection nourishes, but does not require constant company. Learning continues, but does not require formal study. Expression flows, but does not require perfection. What matters is the general orientation, the overall direction, moving roughly toward what matters, connecting roughly with others, learning roughly what presents itself, expressing roughly what arises. Roughly is enough. Perfect is not required. The path continues as long as life continues. Each step reveals the next. This is enough. This has always been enough. The task is not to reach a destination, but to walk the path with whatever attention, whatever presence, whatever love is available in this moment. And then the next, and then the next, until the path ends, as all paths do, having been walked as well as could be managed with what was available at the time. This is the well-lived life at any age. Not perfect, not without difficulty, but lived, fully lived, with whatever resources were present. And that, finally, is enough. So we arrive at the place where all thoughtful conversations about aging eventually lead. The recognition that how we live each day matters more than any single intervention, any medical treatment, any supplement ever could. The body responds to purpose, to movement, to connection, to meaning. These are not abstract ideals. They are biological signals as real as any hormone, as influential as any gene. The single most important takeaway from everything we have explored together is this: the body continues to respond to the conditions you create for it, at any age, in any circumstance. Not perfectly, not without limitation, but genuinely and meaningfully. If this conversation has prompted any reflection, any new thought about your own life, we would be honored if you would share it in the comments. These exchanges become part of the library themselves. Wisdom shared among those who understand that learning never stops. And if you would like to continue exploring, the library holds many more volumes. We invite you to subscribe so that you do not miss the ones still to come. Until next time, may you walk your path with attention, with presence, and with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that how you live matters more than how long you have lived. This is the Longevity Library. Listen, learn, and live longer.